I spent a lot of time in a startup environment where you're like, let's just see what happens. Let's try it out. And let's like be scrappy. And maybe if we have small budget, we'll like do a little bit. We'll try it out. We'll test it out. And then we'll grow and get bigger. I go into things with that mindset of saying yes. And I think that's really great, but also probably challenging.
Hilary Fischer-Groban is a senior director of brand, insights, and communications who spent her career redefining legacy brands and building culture-defining startups. A whip-smart and ambitious New Yorker, it's perhaps no surprise that some of her biggest lessons have come from balancing on the glass cliff.
Glass cliff is when a woman is brought in to sort of be marched off the edge and be set up for a company that has huge transition happening or something. And if you're looking at someone who can handle a huge variety of challenges, like, I think a woman's a great candidate for that, and we should be in these roles.
In today's episode, Hilary shares how to decide whether to take on these high-stakes roles, how to navigate the pressure once you're in them, and how to protect your confidence and sense of self along the way.
There's always things that go wrong. Failure is when it hangs with you and it starts impacting your home life and how you're treating your friends and your family. You kind of can't bounce back when it's staying with you.
Hilary, welcome to Fail Up.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
I love it. I love. Okay. Everyone's very in awe of getting read their intro. I think it's everyone's favorite moment.
Well, that's it for this podcast. We can stop there. Sounds great.
We'll pack it up. So impressive.
Thank you. That was really nice.
We're starting everyone with a little softball of just how we came into each other's lives. We've known each other for such a long time.
We have, and I think we came into each other's lives because we just got along. Yeah. Like, I think you were roommates with girls that were friends of friends from college, but I was like, this chick, I want to hang out with her. And you always had so much going on. We met in New York City in our 20s. And
we were so young.
We were so young.
So young. 23. I was maybe 23 or 24.
We thought we knew many things. Yeah. You had like parties and invitations. Yeah. I was living in Boston pretending to live in New York.
That's right.
And I would like come and sleep on your couch. And I remember paying you in garbage bags. I would like buy you household essentials. I was like, I can't pay any rent. I'm in grad school. I like don't have a job. But I was like, do you guys need toothpaste or trash bags or whatever? And I'd pick up what I could.
Oh my God.
And I got to hang out.
I forgot about that. You did. You used to buy household essentials. You also used to, so Hilary is an incredible knitter. Is that what you call it? Yeah. And so you also she used to knit these cactus for us, cacti, because we had all these plants. We were living in the East Village at the time. I was with my roommate Lizzie, and I had all these plants, and obviously we were doing a terrible job of keeping them alive because we were just working and partying and no one was watering the plants and they kept dying. And so
you were also very into the plants. It was always like new plants. We're buying new plants. We're bringing them in. It was the whole cycle.
Totally. I spent so much money on the plants and then like they never stayed alive. I think I was trying to hold on to some semblance of like being in nature. And so you at some point were like, how about the only thing I could keep alive, I think, were the cactus. And you were like, how about I just knit you some? They're going to be more reliable. So I had for a while this collection of all these like incredible, you would knit the actual ceramic pot.
Yeah.
And knit the cactus with like all the little spikes. It was incredible. And that was like your rent.
Yes, that was
that and garbage bags.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would come. I remember you came in when you were doing all your interviews. Right. Yes. So you would come in and crash on our couch and be going to these very important like post-grad school interviews, and then just like we would all just sit up and chat on the couch for hours and like drink wine and knit cacti.
Oh, those were the days.
Those were the days. And thought we were so important.
For sure.
Like thought we were running New York City. No one knew who we were.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But we were going out. We were living the life.
Living life. Yeah. So fun. So fun. I also, like, before we get into kind of anything serious, can we just take a minute to just acknowledge, like, how fucking terrible our birthday is.
It's probably one of the worst of the year. It's December 28th.
Worst.
People listening to this or watching this will not remember. They will not wish us a happy birthday. It's going to fly right out of their heads. They're going to be really busy that time. So they're sorry.
Yeah.
But
it's like that terrible time between Christmas and New Year's Eve where everyone's either away or hungover or just exhausted or doing, you know what? The 28th is always like the in-laws.
Yeah.
It's like I had Christmas with my family, and now we're doing like the in-laws on the 28th.
They're definitely not around to get dinner.
No.
School's out. So growing up, it was always like, you can't really have a party.
Yeah, I never got cupcakes at school. No. It really got to me. And then I met Hilary. I'm like, oh my God, someone has shared the same life trauma on the 28th of December. But we've had some fun birthdays together at least.
We have. At least, and I feel like we have prioritized celebrating together.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. If we can't celebrate ourselves, who else is going to celebrate us? So in your very impressive fab intro at the beginning, we talked about your current role at TripAdvisor. You want to just tell us a little bit about that? And then I'm just curious. TripAdvisor is such a household name, but yet there's so much I also don't know about it. So if there's kind of like a weird, surprising, fun fact, hit us.
Absolutely.
What's going on over there?
So TripAdvisor. So I joined almost 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so travel as an industry was very disrupted in the pandemic. Yeah. So TripAdvisor really, had a rough go, as all the travel brands did. Yeah. Really, everyone kind of came to a stop. Mm-hmm. And some pockets were shining here and there. But when I joined in 2021. And I was managing one brand manager, and I always say I joined to like an empty Google Drive, and they were like, what do you want to do with the brand?
Yeah.
What should we do? Like,
how do we get people out of isolation?
Absolutely.
Wow,
and like,
that's crazy.
We hadn't been advertising in an upper funnel capacity in years. A lot of folks, at least Americans will remember there was like an owl in a bathrobe ads that were on late night TV, and we would spend hundreds of millions of dollars on
what
those.
Are they?
It was like a little British owl that would tell you hotel deals. There was a dog and stuff, but we advertised a ton, and then it stopped, and it completely went to zero.
Okay. And
for years. And then when I joined, it was sort of what should we do now? Mm-hmm. How do you come back from that? Mm-hmm. How do you build back into a brand that a lot of people see everywhere and love and have a lot of affinity for? But like, marketing moves very fast. The channels move fast. How you spend moves fast. We certainly would not go back on day one to spending the way we did.
Yeah.
And then there was no sort of data around this. There wasn't a lot of measurement of really, from a quantifiable standpoint, what is our brand? What does it mean to people? So that was the brief. Mm-hmm. There was also a massive rebrand done in 2020 that was supposed to go live April of 2020.
Yikes.
That was the like moment the pandemic happened. So that kind of had some false starts. So it was like, get in there, see what of those pieces still make sense, what feels right. And since then, and that I thought that was kind of an exciting brief of like, build this into what makes sense. Because I think a lot of brands, especially ones where they're not startups, they all have some history, and you have to, what I like about working brand is you have to sort of live with the brand. You have to talk to the people who work there, like actually do that research. It's very hard, I think, to come externally and just say, this is the brand. You have to really talk to the people who've used that product.
Okay, so obviously of the many list of impressive accomplishments in your life, one of them was you did get an MBA from MIT, courtesy of my couch.
Yeah. Huge shout out to
the East Village couch. I'm so curious, there's so much talk around MBAs now and kind of, are they worth it? Are they not worth it? So I'm curious, how did the MBA prepare you for the real world and your career? And would you recommend people get it now? I know you obviously got it quite a few years ago and things have changed, but so curious about that.
I think the MBA needs a rebrand. I think people dunk on it a lot. I learned so much. I got so much value. I'm where I am because I got an MBA. It opened doors for me. It helped structure my thinking. I had a moment in an airport at one point. I saw the Wall Street Journal out, and I was like, oh, I don't understand one word of this. I was like, I don't understand the headlines. I literally didn't. I was like, I have a gap in my education and my ability to like function as an adult. And an MBA was huge for me. I think there's some people who an MBA is it feels like a natural thing they're just going to kind of get. And those people probably should go do something else. I think for people where
Wait, say that again. You think the people that...
There's a lot of folks who are in finance and consulting, and they kind of, it's just like a natural part of their thing. They know all the content already. They kind of roll into an MBA, roll into the next job. And I think for a lot of those folks, maybe they need to be broken out of that shell a little bit. Maybe they should work in a library or a school or something. But for me, it was a language I didn't know, and it was a toolkit that I did not have, and it was so valuable. And there's plenty of people like that there, for sure. I think you would have been great getting an MBA. I think you've gotten one on the road.
On the road.
but it was like an acute 2-year period of time where you can just really dive in and learn that stuff.
I really wanted to. There was a period of time where I really wanted to. And then I got the job at the Times, and I felt like by the time I came out of working there, I had one. Yeah. And I was like, I don't need this anymore. It's just so expensive.
It's very expensive.
I was like, I need to buy a house before I like invest in that. But yeah, it's interesting because I just think they're now I feel like they're talked about less and less. Like when we were growing up, there was such a big deal. Yeah. And now because people are getting into the workforce sooner maybe, or everyone's like starting their own companies. One thing I remember when you got yours was like you used to always have these just like really good frameworks about things. You'd always like, and it was like you had interview. Yeah. There was like a structure of how to interview. Do you remember that? Not to put you on the spot, but there was, what was that? I remember you used to tell me, and it was like some 5-star point.
The star, situation, task,
or like
action,
even to
result.
hire people. Like I'd be hiring people and be like, how are you evaluating them? And I'm like, well, let's see how they go. And you were like, let me give you a framework.
And I think especially busy leaders these days need that.
Give us the framework, if you can remember.
The interviewing one is STAR, is situation, task, action, result. So when someone asks you a question, you say, well, the situation was this. What I took on was this. It had this outcome. It had this action. And the result was X, increase from X to Y.
There you go. We just saved you $200,000.
Boom.
You're welcome.
And the other thing an MBA gave me is, I think in the age of AI where you can get those frameworks other places, they actually did spend a lot of time going over public speaking and communication style. Right. And I think I see especially people who are on Zoom meetings all day, it is not focused on enough. And it's something where I think a lot of people especially don't seek out that training of how to command a room, how to do that. You can pick it up, you can learn it, but that was one thing that I think was extra valuable.
Yeah, and also the network, I imagine.
For sure.
I mean, connected to this, what is like the most useful piece of information you pulled out of that?
The value of an executive summary.
Oh.
Leaders are very busy.
That's a great one.
And so many folks, especially young in your career, you're like, here's a 10-page document, and no one wants that. They're not going to read it, and it looks worse on you.
That's a good one. I feel like that's a skill. Again, at the Times, like I've never written so many memos than when I worked there.
Nice tight memo.
They communicate via memos. I was like, wow, okay. So I had to really learn that and it was like, it's a really good exercise around just like synthesizing your thoughts, into like an argument, into a clear argument.
And if you can't, then you shouldn't do whatever you're doing.
Isn't that also the Amazon thing? Doesn't he doesn't?
I think they have a longer document or something.
They don't have presentations. Yeah, and you have to if you want a meeting, you have to prepare a memo for the meeting.
Yeah.
Whew. What's the most useless piece of information you learned?
There was a lot of financial modeling that I will never use.
You never know.
It's true. But I'm like very low on the list of someone who should be called up to do that from memory.
Fox News talking about travel trends? I'm there. How would you describe your leadership style?
I think that I try to explain things, and I think that's one of my core leadership differentiators. I think a lot of leaders try to be transparent. They try to be humble. I do try to be a player coach. I try to think about getting out of the way of my team, hiring smart people, letting them do their job. But I think the big thing I've been thinking about the past few years is, are you explaining things, is really the why, and investing in people overcomplicate this topic a lot, I think, but it's like, are you just telling your team what's actually going on so that they can be better equipped? And I think that's a core skill as a leader that I'm trying to work on and that I think is really important.
I love that. How would your team describe you, do you think? If they were at like drinks with their friend and being like, oh, my boss, Hilary, what are they saying?
I think probably that, and I've heard some of this feedback, I think that I am like transparent, and I am able to sort of be open with people, ask people about their whole selves. I like to know what's going on with people so that I can help. I do try to give direct and honest feedback, both positive and negative. And I think that's a big one. As you grow in your career, you have to do the negative stuff as early and as often as possible, or before it festers. And then, I think I have a lot of enthusiasm as well. I hear that in the feedback, being just positive, which I'm like, I am not always in my private life. I'm super negative. But
I can see you turning that on at work for sure.
Turn it off.
You turn it off sometimes.
Yes. And if like your boss can't turn on a positive face, it's hard to come to work in that situation. So
if they were having a bitch session about you, what are they talking about?
Probably the positive is annoying, I think. I think that's probably like...
You're like, will this girl with her MBA from MIT shut up? Just shut up.
I think also I do tend to say, I try to be... I want to take things on and I say yes to stuff and then I absolutely overcommit.
Oh, interesting. You're one of those.
Yeah.
Why? What's going on there?
I like to see what's possible. I know you're supposed to undercommit and over-deliver, but I just think people kind of sell themselves short. People make perfect be the enemy of the good. I do feel like I spend a lot of time in a startup environment where you're like, let's just see what happens. Let's try it out. And let's like be scrappy. And maybe if we have, a small budget, we'll like do a little bit. We'll try it out. We'll test it out. And then we'll grow and get bigger. And so I think that I go into things with that mindset of saying yes. And that's probably, and I think that's really great, but also probably challenging.
I think it's good. It's like you know how Adam Grant talks a lot about good leaders act like scientists and they run constant experiments and you see what works and you test it and you learn from it and then you do it again. Yeah. And it's not meant to be, you're not meant to wait until you have the answer. You're meant to be running experiments to figure out all these different little hypotheses.
Oh, I like that.
I'll
say that next time.
Yeah, you can say that next time. Adam Grant's always a good go-to.
Yeah.
Okay. You are one of the funniest people I know. On and off the court. What role do you think humor plays in leadership? Especially because you've worked at kind of the startup-y places like things, but also I imagine TripAdvisor's like pretty hardcore corporate vibes, is it?
It is very corporate. Yeah. It's a publicly traded company. Yeah. You can't be making jokes about, a company. I do support the earnings preparation process and things. That's not a space for humor. But I think there's a lot to be said for taking yourself lightly. I don't have a good quote about that, but I went to this yoga studio. It was like angels fly because they take themselves lightly. So I don't want that on the record.
I'll do your favorite, edit that out.
I think there's a lot to be said for taking yourself lightly and just it's not too serious. I think at the end of the day, I have a colleague, Christina, who says this, she's like, we're just trying to help people have great trips. And I think that's true. And I think you can bring humor to a lot of things in a way that loosens tension in tough situations. I think it's something where a couple good cracks at the beginning of the meeting can kind of make people feel welcome. I also think there's stuff can feel very serious, and I do try to encourage the team to kind of bring icebreakers and keep that going, especially in when it's hard times or there's been reorgs and things like that. Those feel it has to feel appropriate in the moment, but I do think you can structure that a little bit to have some of that levity.
Wait, you bring icebreakers into just a regular meeting?
Not a regular meeting. I have a standing.
That is my worst nightmare.
Not icebreakers, like activities.
Really?
So
tell me.
My team meeting.
You make everyone tell each other a secret that they don't know.
I don't lead it. I rotate ownership. I tell everyone has to, sign up and
they sign up.
They sign up. It's like they should feel like that's a good time for them or they're ready or whatever. And then I do some announcements. I have like housekeeping. And then a lot of times folks do a structured activity of what they want to like get the vibes going.
Really?
And we
what
do
are
work
some
sharing big
examples
stuff.
of these activities?
Okay, last week we had this awesome guy, Najmi. He led he showed just different images and you had to guess where it was and what was filmed there. And we work in travel, we should know. So it's like some bridge.
So it's like a movie.
It's a movie set. And it was like the bridge from Harry Potter in Scotland. And it's just fun. You get it going. We do a lot of like travel related recent things. We had one that was trend or trash where we just
Oh, that's good. And it's like travel trends?
Yeah, it was, and just general trends. And then it was it a real trend or did the guy make it up? It's hard to tell.
This is, it's good. It's a lot of work to prep for the meetings, but I guess if it's rotating, then
yeah, they just have one shot and it comes around in a couple months.
Totally. Who has had the biggest impact on your career? Besides me, obviously.
It is you.
Stop. No, it's not. I was joking.
It's Alana Lynch.
It's not. Shut up.
I think you have had a huge impact on my career. I really didn't know much about the advertising agency space. I don't know why. It's everywhere.
Everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
It really is. And I think no one actually explained to me, like, there are these groups of people who, like, do projects for brands that put them out. And, like, I don't know, the bare bones of it, that was a huge education for me. I think you do embody a lot of the creative leadership of saying, like, how are we bringing inspiration into the workflow and having, like, business outcomes derived from that. After you,
she's so good,
would be my mom.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I think it's, she, at the end of her career, she was SVP at a publicly traded company, but she really worked her way up. She was, she always said she was like a secretary, and then she like, kind of earned her way along there. Always in publishing, children's book publishing, as well as like public TV, things like that.
Very cool. That's such a nice one. That just also, it just came to me. Remember when you consulted with Chandelier?
Yeah.
Okay, this is such a funny story. So we used to pitch a lot at Chandelier and obviously all these different things. And we were working on this really big pitch at one time. And I guess, I don't know. I feel like all my friends consulted with Chandelier during that time, one thing or another. And you came in at some point because we were like, what was it? Maybe it was for Harry's?
I think it was for Harry's.
It was for Harry's.
I think I was just around and you were like,
maybe you were just like,
it's like gonna be there.
Going out for dinner or something after. Anyway, that's right. We were pitching on Harry's, which was kind of the first like direct to consumer shaving brands, obviously a million of them now, which we ended up winning this pitch. But I remember we had all of the ideas pinned up on the wall and like we were, all the creative ideas and the strategy. And we were like, this is so good. But we're like, let's get someone else to tell us if it's good. And we brought you in because you were more familiar with like the startup world, and also all the Harry's kids were all like MBA kids, and we're like, we better bring someone in who knows how to speak to them. And I will never, do you remember your feedback to us? You walked up to
a huge board of ideas, of paper ideas on a big black board.
And do you remember what you said?
I said, well, what did they ask for? And you were like, oh, someone get the email, someone get the brief. Like, there's like interns firing away. And then they were like, okay, they asked for these 4 things. Like, tell us about your agency. Tell us the problem we're solving. Tell us how you'd approach it. And then like what the results would be or something.
And you were like, Okay, cool. Here's a suggestion. Why don't you put a table of contents at the start and you go, why don't you order your presentation to respond to the questions? And we were like, she's a genius.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's all in there. Can't find the storyline.
We literally like, that's all you gave us. And it was so, we're like, oh my God, yes. And from then on, we put table of contents in our presentations, and it was the
value of an MBA.
I think we won that pitch because of the table of contents. This is like my last funny question before we get into talking about failure a little bit more.
Okay.
During your time in India, so you had this stint in India. Sorry to Vinay. Is Vinay going to kill me for asking this question? Let's see. No. So you had a stint in India right after business school, right? Yeah. Where you were this Clinton Fellow.
No, before business school.
I was before. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah.
I applied to business school from India, and they thought I was going to be an Indian candidate. And I'd show up to the interviews, and they were like, who's this chick?
She's a Jewish girl from Boston.
Yeah.
She's not Indian. You had, when I first met you, I remember one of the first things we talked about was this, you had this blog that you had like really consistently kept while you're in India that was essentially just talking about like how miserable you were in India. How do you explain this to his family? Because, sorry, she's now married this very fabulous Indian guy called Vinay. He's the fucking best. And how do you explain this to his family?
At a high level, I have taken the blog off the internet, and you can't find it. So
okay, good.
That's probably that on that. But I do think I have a context for his like upbringing and his culture.
Yeah.
And I think that's respected on like both sides. So I think it was nice that I spent time there. Has anyone read the blog in a while? No, I don't think so. That blog opened some doors for me, though. It was true to my experience.
Yeah.
Like, it was really hard. I do think his family respects that I went there. I went there with a foundation, but in a lot of ways I had to figure out everything myself.
Totally.
And it was really hard. India was not set up for that. This was like really before a lot of the Wi-Fi and phones. There were no Ubers, like none of that. So it was, I think there's a respect, hopefully, that comes from that. And then, we don't have to revisit that blog all the time. Opened a lot of I got freelance writing gigs from that blog. I got recognized once.
Amazing. Okay, well, hopefully it's scrubbed off the internet.
It's all part of the journey.
Okay. I want to switch gears now into a few questions around, obviously, our topic around failure. I've been asking everyone this same question. It's been incredible listening to everyone's responses because there's so many common themes. But how do you define failure kind of personally and professionally?
From a professional lens, I feel that there's always things that go wrong. And you can kind of go home that day or unplug your computer or whatever it is and just be like, oof, that, to quote our Lord, what was that? But
I don't understand that.
Lord, her new song.
Oh, what was that? I thought you meant like...
I know, that's what
and I was so confused. I was like, what? Anyway.
To quote our Lord.
To quote the real Lord.
To quote our Lord.
What was that?
What was that? There's always those days where you're like, that was not good.
Yeah.
I think the failure is when it hangs with you for a couple weeks and it starts impacting your home life and how you're treating your friends and your family. And I think any sort of negativity that's really creeping into sort of how you view yourself and how you interact with those around you, that's when the real failure starts to come from, as opposed to sort of a blip or a meeting that really went down south or whatever. Like, I think that's what I've decided is when you kind of can't bounce back, when it's staying with you.
Yeah, I love that. So you're kind of saying that the moment itself isn't necessarily the failure, it's how you navigate the failure and how you deal with the failure determines whether it becomes a failure or not. It's almost like it's a mistake
Yeah.
And then how you deal with it determines whether it's a failure or not.
Absolutely.
No one said that yet. That's a great answer.
And two people will have the same event happen and just handle it so that may mean a lot to one person at one time in their career or something, and then that same thing could happen in another point and feel really catastrophic.
Do you think about it the same way personally?
I think probably.
Similar, yeah.
It's really sticking with you. And I feel like everyone has like a fight with their partner or friend, and then you can still go out to dinner the next week and kind of move on. But it's when it's really staying and changing how you view that scenario, that person or something. That's really the fail.
What is the opposite of failure?
I think based on my own definition that I'm coming up with, I feel like it's when there's something that really boosts you up, that you come out of it, you've learned something, you're changed, your perspective is changed, you have a new appreciation that you're really taking forward. And again, there's definitely those like projects that go well, or you nail a pitch or whatever, and then you're like, well, going back to my desk, whatever. But there's really where you getting that next, something's unlocked and something's opened up. That's what I think.
I love that. It's like almost like a growth mindset is the opposite. Very cool. What emotions come up for you when you think of the word failure? Because it's a good exposure therapy doing this podcast. I'm getting much more comfortable with it, but there's part of me, it's like a little bit of a knot.
Yeah.
Like what comes up for you?
For sure. There's like a physical like nausea, knot, like, and I think like the heart racing, just the anxiety. I think there's also scenarios where things go wrong, but you kind of, you know what happened, you know what you could do to fix it. But I think there's like a helplessness that comes with a failure where you can't go back in time, you can't undo it. There's not another opportunity or there's not like an immediate path to fix something. And that is very scary. And I think that's what feels really like a failure as opposed to sort of just a little blip or a setback.
Love. Can you tell me about a moment, a leadership moment at work when you thought, like, this is exactly where I'm meant to be? And then another one when you thought, oh, my God, like, get me out of here.
So many. I mean, I think just speaking broadly, the moments where I've been able to, like, help someone else shine and, like, get their moment and invest in that are the most fulfilling. Where it's like seeing seeing someone, I have someone on my team who like got their moment to speak in front of the CEO and just like had all their ducks in a row, were super concise, like we worked through it, we prepped, we socialized the pre-read in advance. We had like really worked into it, and then it went really well. We're getting positive feedback on everything. I think that's a moment where I was like, okay, I can manage some. I don't know if I can manage some, but it was like really being able to like pass a baton or like pass skills and transfer and then like make the organization a better place because of it. I think that's something.
When you're in your zone. Yeah. I love it. What about when you feel in over your head?
I think that's tough. I feel that way all the time. And I think you should. Yeah. I think really there's hard moments you have to do and you have to just get through. So I think like really tough conversations or reorganizations, or there's pivotal moments where you just have to tell someone something they really don't want to hear or don't deserve. There's just a few of those that I'm thinking about. But I think it's really that day you just wake up and you're like, this is just going to be awful, and you have to just get through it.
And how do you push through those moments?
I think you have to be really much more concise. I think people talk too much.
Oh, real interesting. Like me on this podcast.
No, this is great. This prepares you. But it's like with everything, you have to prepare. You have to really practice in front of the mirror, old school, and just say, stick to your talking points. Leave some space for people.
Totally. Okay, I'm really excited to talk to you about this idea of the glass cliff. When we were talking about in prep for this podcast, we were both just kind of talking about our own careers, and both of us have taken like really big, risky jobs, right? And like go us, we crushed it and we both like rose up the ranks really early in our careers in New York. But we're both kind of reflecting on the fact that, if we had our time over again, we'd still take those roles, but also upon reflecting on them, we weren't always set up for success for those roles. And when we dug into that a little bit more, we realized that what we were talking about is this idea of the glass cliff. And so I want to, do you want to tell us a little bit more about explain what that is and kind of how that's shown up in your career?
The glass cliff is when it's a reference to the glass ceiling, which was when women would rise in their career and then they just couldn't break into whether it was the C-suite or whatever that next level was. And the glass cliff is different. It's when a woman is brought in to sort of be marched off the edge and be set up for a company that has some sort of like fundamental failing or some huge transition happening or something. And it is, maybe you have the stats there, but it is often companies can kind of look to a woman to be the person who takes a company through that time. And that's pretty crazy.
It's crazy. It's like we're getting through the ceiling now. More women are in C-suite roles, but then we're taking these riskier jobs. And so because we're taking the riskier jobs, we have a higher percentage possibility of failure. What's going on there? Like, why do you think women are attracted to these roles?
I think there's probably some general statements, and then I can share my personal experience. I think in general, like, women are amazing and are super competent. And if you're looking at someone who can tackle everything and handle a huge variety of challenges, like, I think a woman's a great candidate for that, and we should be in these roles. I think there's probably a sense also of like, this is what I need to do to get a role like this. And
because there's not as many offered to us.
There's not as many offered. And there's like, do I have to roll up my sleeves, like roll them up even further? And like, do I just have to tackle this huge thing to get in there? And then once I do it, I'm going to prove myself and I'm going to get the rest of those roles that are maybe cushier or something.
And we think we can save them. It's just like in dating. It's just like we're like, we're going to take that job and we're like, we can save them. We can turn them around. But sometimes there's kind of systemic structural problems there that, one individual isn't going to be able to
couple trips to Uniqlo can't completely change the man.
Or can it?
Or can it? Okay. I think in my experience
talk to us about your story.
I'm nowhere near, I've never been a C-level executive being kind of in that spot for sure. But I think I have taken roles where there was a certain amount of, especially right after my MBA, saying like, here is like a smart young thing who can just help us fix this. And I think that's a really common pattern. I even see I even do it now where I'm like, this person can fix this thing that's really hard and has been entracted in our company for decades. And I think looking back on it, a few roles I've taken where it's been, there's been an element of fixing something where I feel like there were people internally given that opportunity who could have fixed it with a huge amount of insight and experience that would have been more relevant than me coming from outside and doing that. I also think there's so many questions I wish I would have asked around resources available to fix something. Putting in place systems to make sure I was supported along that process of like, okay, if I get to that step, will like agency support be unlocked?
Do I have budget?
Do I have budget to do that? If I need tools to do that, like even tech or, just infrastructural support, can that happen once a plan is laid out or the like return on that is going to be laid out? And I think probably in some of those cases, the answers would have been no. And then that's a different conversation. There's like, well, I'm limited as one person or I'm limited as this small team or whatever.
It's also such a different job if you're brought in to, fix something that's broken as opposed to a growth story, as opposed to like, we're in a growth phase and we're moving forward and it's very positive momentum, as opposed to like we're in structural decline or there is, we need a major transformation. And I do find women are really drawn to kind of the fixing roles. I think it's also partly because so much of that work requires, first of all, it requires kind of a high level of kind of, first of all, we're taking the role because that's what we're given. And we're like, of course we're going to take that job. Second of all, I just think we're so highly resilient. We have such a high pain threshold physically in childbirth, but also emotionally. And so much of those roles require a level of management of the people. Yeah. And it's a generalization, but women, you know, have really high EQ. We're kind of stronger on the softer skills, great communication, nurturing, all those things that are required to kind of bring people together in tough times. And so we're drawn to these roles, but then not necessarily, set up for success.
And I think when you think about those kind of executive leaders who rally a team for growth, you think of like Steve Ballmer jumping around on that stage at Microsoft. Yeah. And it is kind of this like man bringing folks together.
Totally.
And then I wonder if there's, you know, a side of that, which is like a super sharp, pragmatic woman who's going to come in and say, this is what needs to happen and it's hard and we're going to do it.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone stepping into a position like that?
I think how far have they stepped in?
So there's a few different versions of this, right? It's like, let's just say they haven't accepted the role yet. What advice are you giving then?
I think you have to ask questions about the long term there, because I think being in a position where you do that for a little bit and then if it goes well or if it doesn't go well, you're somehow like on the hook for that is really it's a different gig at that point. So be sure what your personal comfort level with that is. And then I think the resourcing is a huge one of just what, even if it has to be unlocked at certain thresholds, if we get to this point, you know, what does that enable us to kind of reinvest or things like that?
It's such a good insight. I've also made that mistake many times of realizing you get in and you have all these great ideas and then you realize you have no budget. Yeah. They're giving you no money to spend. And it makes sense because if you're in a fixing situation, they're not investing in something that's in structural decline. That is kind of, you're saving it, you're fixing it. And once you fix it, we'll give you the money. And it's like, we need the money to fix it.
100%.
And you never get the money.
Sometimes you even need the money for a tool to figure out what's wrong.
Totally.
And it's hard, but those are conversations. I think there's leadership teams that will be upfront with you and say no, and you make your decision, and there's ones that'll help them in that thinking.
Yeah. It is interesting though because it's so case by case. But when I look back on certain roles, I would still do it again. Yeah. You know, because I think as well, you still learn from those experiences. And sometimes you learn even more from those experiences because it's really a baptism of fire. And as long as you can kind of get what you can out of it and be able to help you leverage that for your next job, it's not necessarily, you know, it's never a waste of your time.
No.
It's just going to be fucking stressful. So like, get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready. What would you say to the person who's already accepted it and then they're in it and they're like, holy shit, I'm about to fall off the glass cliff?
It's such a big opportunity because what if you sprout wings and fly off that cliff? I mean, truly, at ABC Carpet and Home, I was there when the company was contracting and we had to contract in a smart way. And this has all been sort of publicly documented now, but there was a 10-story retail store in downtown Manhattan that to anyone really doesn't make a lot of sense. That's like really tough. In hindsight.
But like when you were taking that job, I remember we're like, of course you're going to you had this incredible job at Reformation straight out of business school. Yep. Then you stepped into ABC. Yeah. And in hindsight, a mansion of like incredibly expensive real estate, selling incredibly expensive couches and rugs probably wasn't going to have a long shelf life in the city.
Totally.
What did you learn from that experience?
You know, I learned so much. Yeah. It was a crash course in retail and physical goods, which I think actually serves people so well in this tech environment. And people forget all the time that, like, do people want what you're selling? Does it fit in their home? Do they, like, there were so many basics. It taught me a lot of respect for the people who work on the ground and talk to customers. And I think that's another thing where I do research and insights now, and it's the same thing. I would talk to the salespeople there. They'd tell me what people were telling them. It's the same. I think a lot of the principles set me up. for a lot of success. I mean, I love the store. Walking in there every day, I was like, this stuff is
Does it
beautiful.
still exist? It doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
Does it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. It survived? I thought it was for sure dead and buried.
It survived. It had a pop-up in Connecticut.
It hasn't got that same...
Not the full footprint. But that was the challenge at the time, was how do you shrink it, make it healthy, make it more profitable, invest in e-commerce at the time. There really was a transformation, but at times it felt like, how am I, a recent MBA, going to help support this process? But it really did. It has survived. And I think that's a testament to like what drew me in there, which was, it is the most gorgeous stuff. Yeah. People want that. And so, and I just learned so much about the company had really built creativity and design into literally its DNA. And just how to preserve that and how to, I mean, it weathered the storm. It's still around.
If you found yourself in another similar situation like that again, would you take it at this point in your career?
At this point in my career, I feel I do thrive under the growth scenario. I would be looking more at that. And I think I am. I am a scrappy leader. Like I think I can do a lot with a little. But I do think that even looking back on that situation, there are people who are experts in that turnaround situation.
Totally,
there are people with 20, 30, 40 years of experience turning around like New York City retail establishments and right-sizing them and getting digital footprint. Like that was not me, and it's not me today.
Right.
So I think there's definitely the right person for that role.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Some people, like, I hate to say it, there's a part of me that like thrives in the chaos a little bit. And there's like a little bit of a personality there, but also leadership style.
Yeah.
And it's true. Some people, it's stressful, but I also almost find those situations like a little bit motivating. Yeah. But that's not for everyone. And also you just have to be comfortable as well that you're working in like chapters. You're working in smaller chapters as opposed to this kind of long period of time. Obviously, we're talking about, this, pretty intense situations that people are dealing with. What toll do you think it takes kind of mentally and emotionally to lead in these situations where you're just under kind of intense scrutiny?
I think it's all consuming. I've had several jobs where it felt like it would sometimes jolt me awake at night. I was like, I forgot to do the whatever. And then it was like, whew. So I think that's a part of it. And I do think people need to be honest about the fact that some people like that. I think it really is.
I mean, I don't like the jolting in the middle of the night. That was not so much me. But I would, I think I'd wake up feeling pretty stressed.
Yeah.
One time I woke up stressed and I got a dog. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, So then I would make impulsive decisions to like make myself feel better.
Do you remember I randomly got a call one day that was like, Alana Lynch has put you as a reference for adopting a dog? I was like, totally. She's be the best dog mom.
She should do that. I actually am an amazing dog. Not that my dog is with me now. But.
And I knew you would be. I think but I do think probably that was you like seeking some balance there. And I think
1,000%.
For me, you know what I did is like I married a guy who is like very chill.
Very chill, very stable.
Yeah, and his MO really is chilling. And so even in high pressure situations, I come home to like, let's order in. Like, let's sit on the couch.
Do you think this emotional toll is harder on women? Because one thing I would love to kind of touch on with even the conversation on the glass cliff is that we're talking about women being in these situations and then women, experiencing these moments of failure and then having to deal with all these, the emotional kind of toll of that. But the situation between kind of how men and women experience that is very different, right? Because if the men are not in these kind of glass cliff roles, they're not experiencing it as often. But I think we've talked about this before. We also think that like men just handle failure differently and they have a different perspective on that. I mean, do you feel like there's a gender difference there?
I think that in some of the situations that I think where I've failed or I've done a bad job, I do wonder if someone else in that position would be like, this was great. I did a great job.
Totally.
There's always reframing. I'm always interested when I see something happen and then I see what that person puts on their resume. I was like, oh, that looks like a great experience.
Yeah. And maybe we should learn a little bit from that.
Absolutely.
Like, I think it's both. I think the men could be, you know, take a little bit of potentially talking about it in a more honest, open, vulnerable, humble way. But also women, I think, are almost too open about it sometimes. And it's like, you know, you need to be careful about your positioning in the market and how people are going to interpret, you know, how you're telling a story as well.
For sure.
My last question before the quick fire round. You have 2 really, really beautiful kids. They're so cute. Boomy and Ira is so adorable. I know they're probably too young to be having these conversations around failure now, but you know, how do you think about, is that something you think about, and like what would that conversation look like for them?
Oh, we think about it all the time. Like my son is 4, Ira, and he'll have, particularly if he's tired or hungry, like a Lego will break off and there's just like, he will just melt down.
Yeah.
Full flat on the floor, screaming. From like a little Lego that could just go back on. So we talk about it, and I think it's for him, it's so physical. There really is, like, if it's getting close to bedtime or nap time or whatever. And I think we're not that different from that. It's like, are your physical needs met? You'll deal with something differently. And like, are you getting your protein and whatever? You got to take care of yourself. We notice that so much. We're like, oh, he needed a snack. And like, I don't think we're different.
It's very true. I mean, one of the guests we've had on was a neuropharmacologist, and he was talking about, he does a lot of work in neuroscience and psychedelics, and he was kind of mapping out the kind of 2 profiles of, you know, the hero or the villain and how they would experience failure and bounce back from it. And he was also pointing at this insight too, that your kind of physical and emotional state impacts your ability to handle the failure.
Sure.
So it's like, you've got to make your dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, they all, like, the more kind of in balanced all those hormones are, the more capable you are of navigating the failure. It's kind of similar to what you're saying, which is wild. Even in kids, it's like, they're more accepting of it if
they're well fed, they had a good night's sleep, and they're kind of feeling safe and whatever, they can experiment more. And I think we talk about it. Like, I am aware that I'm raising a son and like a man, a future man in this environment. And I want him to know it's okay to be sad when things happen he doesn't like, that it's okay to talk about it. And I do think we talk about it too. Like, I think it's really hard as a parent. There's pressure these days to be like, always really calm and happy and whatever with your kids. But it was like, no, my husband and I come from meetings where we're like screaming at people or whatever, and we come home and sometimes that's there, and then tensions and whatever. And we say like, oh, I'm upset because this happened, and I'm, you know, sad because this happened, or I'm a little stressed because I need to do these things. And I think talking about that is something we believe in and want to do. And then it's the funniest thing. He brings that language. They're little sponges, and then he repeats it back to us, and it's very weird.
What does he say?
He like anything. His big thing now is, how dare you? And just to have a little kid say that to you. Amazing. You just like...
Amazing. What's the insight there for senior leaders?
For senior leaders? For
senior leaders, like based on... No, based on the parenting hack.
Well, I do think...
besides, like, you know, make sure you're well fed at work if shit's hitting the fan, besides that.
I do think there's something to being... like facing a little of those failures all the time so you become more resilient. Like, I certainly don't want to hover around my son, like fixing all of his Legos all the time so nothing ever breaks. It's like you have to have that, and I hope that it kind of makes you stronger over time. And I think it does. Like, you can't really bomb in a meeting and recover if you haven't done that a few times
Exactly.
before.
It's true. Once you've done it multiple times, because you need to have the evidence in your own mind that you bounced back from it and it was fine.
For sure.
Like, this has happened before and it's not a big deal and it can happen again. But I think there's also an insight there around just overall wellness.
Yeah.
It's so important. Like, it's hilarious that I'm saying this because I've only...
What a time.
What a turnaround. But it's true. I've been on my own journey and had the moments of when I have been more physically burnt out, not necessarily taking care of my health, was when things were felt so much more stressful. The failure felt more emotional. It took me longer to bounce back. And once you're kind of more, at peace with yourself and physically in a good place, it's just not as big a deal.
And realizing people are all on their own journey. Like new parents, like have not slept. Like my brain did not work for a year after having a child. Right. So like there's things outside your control. You're getting a call about a sick parent in the night. You're like a caregiver for someone. There's so much of that people can't control that absolutely impacts this. And I think give yourself grace with that and what you can't control as well.
Very cool. It's a nice note for us to end on before our quick fire.
Okay.
We've got 10 questions. We'll get you out of here. Okay. Number 1, upstate or Hamptons?
Upstate.
Why? You've never been a Hamptons girly.
No.
Yeah.
It feels very pressurized. I think if you want a vacation and you want to relax and unplug and let your gray roots show, and I do feel that upstate has that mellowness and that energy.
Bit more chill. What's the craziest thing you've done to progress your career?
Oh, gosh.
Or funniest, wildest?
I keep being in commercials.
You really do.
For companies I work for.
You were the face of LinkedIn for a while. Remember that?
I was.
You were the face of LinkedIn. Her face was like, you were like wrapped around pylons in the subway.
Yeah, I was in a 6 city out of home. My face was everywhere. I was in a major commercial on all these networks, and I thought, I was like, this is it, because I was mentioning my company and where I worked, and I thought it would like really like kick in sales and skyrocket everything. It was nice, but but I was like, why did I do that? And then,
of course, you got to do it.
And then anytime they need like a stand-in, I've been hand model a few times.
Oh, that's right. And your kids are in stuff, right?
Ira's done some light modeling.
Ira's done, and you and Vinay did that weird thing where you were like a human typeface.
Yes, that was just a friend's project.
That was just a Sunday
body
afternoon
type
for us.
By Meng Shui. Super cool project. Vinay and I were in a couch ad.
I remember.
ABC that was like a billboard.
Was it an ABC?
Yeah.
It was for ABC.
Because they were like, we need something. And I'm always like, if there's a penny we can pinch, I'll be like, I'll stand in, I'll do it. And then I'm like, why am I doing this?
Do you want to be the face of this podcast?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can't pay you.
That's all right.
You have to pay me.
You've paid me in wisdom.
You have to pay me and you can be the face. Okay, cool. Okay. Dream vacation destination.
Oh, this is great. I am like excited about Japan. It is not.
Love Japan.
It's not possible right now. They're little. We don't have the time. But as soon as we do, that's like the first.
I love Japan. Where would you go?
I haven't even gotten there in my planning, but for sure, like Tokyo and Kyoto, and then a little bit outside. And then the skiing looks amazing.
Skiing's amazing. Let's go.
All right.
I think it's the ski season is. Would it be over our birthday? Do they have I don't know. But I'm coming with you.
Great.
Okay, either way. Biggest red flag in a boss?
In a boss. I think it's never making time for the person. It's like you can't even get 5 minutes with them. You can't even get 15 minutes. The one-on-one gets bumped every single week.
They're too busy for you.
Too busy.
Yeah, I agree. Red flag. Worst career advice you've ever received?
Oh, this is a fun one. Do what you love.
Yes, terrible advice. Don't do what you love.
Don't do it.
I mean, I'm doing what I love now, but
do what you love, that you can be well compensated for, that has a lifestyle that aligns with you, that puts you in a place you want to live.
Yeah. What's the kind of Venn diagram for you?
I think it is like, it's what I love, and it's like what I feel good at, or but like also sometimes what you love should be a hobby. And that's what your escape
totally
is.
Like, you don't need to be a professional cactus knitter. You can just do that for your friends. I agree. It's like, you have to find something you find enjoyable, but you have to be good. Like, you have to find something that you're good at.
Yeah.
Because you might love something. Like, I love playing the guitar and I'm terrible. Like, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So like, find something where you're actually good at. And find something where you can make some money. I hate to say it, but like financial security, especially for women, is so important. And you need to be able to like work those 3 things.
For sure.
I agree. But we came up in a time where it was like
I was told that so much.
Yeah, I feel like it was just around that time where everyone started, like, it was a lot of talk about finding your purpose and all that stuff. And that got I still agree people should find their purpose, but that conversation got misunderstood and misinterpreted as find your passion.
Don't do what you hate.
Yeah, don't do what you hate. But also, you're never going to love everything about your job.
No, and it sets you up for such a weird... And your job changes.
Your job changes.
If you're in a good spot, you're going to get promoted. It's going to be weird. You're going to have new challenges, whatever.
And you change.
Yeah.
We change, you know? Like, so you love some things and then, it evolves. Amazing answer. What is your favorite subscription that's in your house?
Favorite, like that I actually really enjoy.
Or maybe what's a subscription in your house that you can't live without?
You know what I'm going with? New York Times and New York Times Cooking.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
New York Times Cooking is so good.
And
do you use it every day?
All the time. And I save a lot. Even if I'm not
too.
cooking them, I when I'm able to cook, I know exactly what I'm making. And as we've discussed, I have a lot of subscriptions. So I was going through, like, we have diapers, we have food delivery, we have a lot. And I just don't feel strongly about that.
New York Times Cooking is so good. Are you into the games? I'm not into the games, but
no.
Everyone else in the world seems to be.
I know.
Yeah. Including the Pope. Did you see that?
Oh, my gosh.
The day before he found out he was the Pope, he was playing Wordle.
Oh, my gosh.
The best ad
the stars,
ever run.
They walk among us.
Yeah. If you won the lottery, what are you spending it on?
Oh.
Besides this podcast.
First acquiring this podcast.
First acquiring this media empire.
I think I already feel like I spend everything on childcare, but probably just... There is, like, a comfort from that where it would then, like, unlock a lot of relaxation in my life.
Yeah, okay.
That's
live-in nannies.
Something like that.
Yeah, love it.
And I love spending time with my kids, but it's like there's a pressure there.
Yeah, of course. Describe your career in one word.
Ongoing.
Never ending.
Every day.
If we could change our birthday, what date would we be aiming for and why? Let's just change it, by the way. Where are we going?
I feel like maybe like May 15th-ish or something. And you're in the nice weather, school's still in session.
Yeah. Because we don't necessarily want a summer birthday because everyone's also on vacation. No one's around. Spring would be great.
I think that's the target.
Spring would be great. Yeah. Okay. My final question for you is... What's one thing you wish you could say to little teenage Hilary?
Oh my gosh. I felt like I was pretty great. And I would just...
That's good. A lot of self-confidence as a teenager?
I did not have it.
You didn't have it. Okay.
Yeah. But looking back, I was like, I was pretty great.
Yeah.
And I would just... I would also just remind my younger self that, like, nothing's forever. Like, everything always felt so serious. That it was like this friend group and this sports team, whatever. And it was like, it's all going to change. It's all going to cycle through.
Yeah. That's a great
that
answer.
perspective.
Yeah. That's a nice thing to end on. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on.
You're the best. This was amazing.
I love. How do you feel?
I feel great.
That's good. If you liked this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. While you're at it, please drop a comment and let me know what resonated with you. I'd love to hear your take. And as always, I'd be so unbelievably grateful if you could share your favorite episode with a friend. It really is the only way an independent podcast like this can be discovered.